You seriously?
I'm so serious.
2016, I am back on the poetry project. I am back. I've been writing. The workshops have been so great. Like the workshops that we had last year. Sorry, workshops that we had last year were just so inspiring. The way that they were put together, and then of course the kids. When the kids are just sitting there and they're writing and they're performing their poetry, it just inspires you. And it says, you know what, I've got to get back into writing. So I wrote, after the workshop, I wrote probably about 4 pieces, but I haven't memorized them. I memorized one, but then I lost it because I memorized for a couple of weeks, and then I stopped performing. And then when you stop performing it, you lose it. But this one, I've been performing this for years. So let's see if I can perform it. But it's called Poetry Is. So if I feel the spirit, I might perform another one. Hey, I'm only performing because I got to show you guys that I have credibility, that I am a poet. Sometimes last year in the workshop, they're like, "You're a poet? Really?" But it's my own fault because I had to perform my pieces, and that the ego perked up a little, and I'm going to perform my pieces. This is Poetry Is, and this stemmed from, as I say, conversations. They were arguments in cycles where we had poets saying, "Well, poetry is this and poetry is that." So you had some poets who you could tell that they were inspired from hip hop. That's what got me into poetry, especially the spoken word scene. I had always written poetry, but it was very traditional when I was in school. When I came to Jacksonville, the spoken word scene was very vibrant, and I was someone who loved hip hop. So a lot of my earlier poems, you can tell the influence is very visible. We had this conversation like, this is poetry, or you have people who were traditional poets, and they didn't want to show the respect to spoken word, and they didn't want to show the respect to hip hop. All of it. They're all artists. You learn and you grow with each other. And this poem comes from those conversations, those arguments. It's just showing that everyone brings something to the table. So everyone's like a spoke in the wheel. Everyone brings something to the table. So you may not like it, but there's somebody else over here who's inspired by that piece or that experience with you, and now they write something else. We're all different. So here it is. It's Poetry Is. When this decade is ended, and poetry is on the verge of extinction because the Jacksonville Renaissance has come to an end, and they ask you, what is poetry? What will you say? Will you say that poetry is the life notes encrypted on the palms of the village storyteller, reciting history while rubbing your hands together, and then clapping on beat to write a new chapter? You see, poetry is an aborted art form, yet she gave birth to a billion-dollar industry, so give her credit because it's due. She gave birth to rap music lyrically. Every 10 years or cyclic trend, she is aborted. Her womb is scarred, then healed, rather supported by the overworked and underpaid poet. It is the memory base that remembers that the millennium was not the birth of greatness. It represented a cylinder, a mere speck, a quiet wind in the depth of the ancestral breath, breathing in 2 motions. Inhale, exhale. Inhale spoken, and exhale word. The spoken word was, or will continue to be the blueprint of what made us, not certificate of birth. That's mere paper. We commence to destroy false images to create ones that are greater than we'll ever be, because knowledge is formed through repetitive belief. It's the blueprint. So no matter the end come, we come in for verbal bereavement accompanied by poetry is time for cipher spit. What light is lit in midday because the darkness still remains. You see, our classes are held in caves. This is AP class, affluent population. We represent 10% of the birth rate, dropping seeds on the 20th day of ovulation. We are the cream of the crop of infinite thought, and our logic is locked in supremacist taunts. The instigators of society, but also watch. We are the reporters for CNBC and CNN, vocalizing human suffering through loud, pens. We are subconsciously linked with arms that reach and mouths that speak and ears that hear, making our hearts bleed. The cream of the crop. The cream always rises and the rest drop. But we feel that tug because out there is still part of us. So we exist in the midst of 90% of those who despise this AP class or simply don't know that we all must follow communal paths. So every first full moon of the 3rd month, we extend the olive branch and increase our grasp. It is this dead poet society that inspires me to express the unspoken and open up to invoking chant downs, by artists who aren't included in my inner circle, but complete me and include me. An experience that is so intimate that is followed by hand snap or speak, poet, speak. You guys ready for some more poetry? Let's go.